Good morning and welcome to this tutorial slash experiment. I just got a brand new computer and I'm going to be installing GameMaker Studio on it, and I thought I might as well kind of make like a walkthrough tutorial on how to basically install it. Basically, let's see, I have the desktop, web, UWP, and mobile modules on it, and so I'll be installing, basically setting up all four of them. Though on the mobile, that's the experiment part. I've never actually installed, used the mobile module before. It's for Android and iOS, and I have no iOS devices, so I'm not gonna be doing that. And I've never installed the Android before, so but I think it'll be well, not too easy, but it's probably solvable. So anyway, the main instructions on how to install everything will be here on the knowledge base under GameMaker Studio 2. I mean, well, yeah, you can just install the installer. Many modules still require different SDKs to work, and basically this document over here will show you what you need, like Visual Studio 15 for the Mac IID, which I don't have, so I'm not going to be worrying about that. I also don't have any Linux. And for Android, we need to get this stuff, and it doesn't mention nothing about UWP, but it's the same thing for Windows IID, which is the Visual Studio 2015. And since basically all of it will require 2015, it should be a piece of cake, sort of. And basically, further down are how to set up each individual target for Windows, HTML, which should work right out of the bat, and UWP and Android. Those are the ones that I'll be explaining. So back on the main website, probably just gonna go get GameMaker and download. For me, it's gonna take me back to my account page, and from there I can download GameMaker. They just recently released the Mac installer, and I've already downloaded the stuff that I need, which is Visual Studio, GameMaker installer, and the JDK, the Java Developer Kit. So let's go ahead and start GameMaker installer. Yes, I want to install it. I agree with everything, and this should install everything. I just like clicking show details, even though I have no idea what any of this means. It's too fast for me to read anyway, but at least I know it's doing something. Sometimes installers just hang and they really don't know what they're doing, and as long as that's moving, you're confident that it's doing something. But anyway, so that's GameMaker Studio 2. It's just about finished installing any second now. This may take some time because they're optimizing the executable. I don't know what that means, but it's taking some time. How long will this video be? Like 30 minutes, maybe? And they're completed. Click next and finish. Then it starts GameMaker Studio, and then you just log in. Right, when you purchase it, you register an account, and this will be the account I'll be logging in. Okay, logged in. The first time it boots up, it's gonna show you these videos that you can watch it if you want to or not. It explains new features on GameMaker Studio 2, and they're pretty nice videos, and I also suggest watching more videos of the guy that made this. Pretty nice. But I'm gonna click this do not show on startup and close. And it's taking some time. And there, it finished loading. I'm gonna import a project. Let's see, and yeah, this is just to because I'm setting up the different build targets. I need something to build, and the blank room won't be that good. This is just a stress program I made. Let's see, it will in a moment. It creates just a bunch of objects, and yeah, basically it's I use it to stress test the different targets, but it shows that it's doing something. And well, as you can see, the Windows runner VM works, but everything else doesn't. See, it needs Visual Studio for the YYC, which is the compiler, which is the first thing I'm gonna show, kind of. UWP also needs to be installed, and so is Android, and actually HTML5 should work. Since if you have the HTML5 module, it should just work automatically. Since there's nothing, it doesn't depend on any SDKs or anything. Let's see what it spits out. Obfuscating. That's a funny word. Okay. And I guess I had to allow this. Let's see if I can just refresh it. And there. Something is running. So, yeah. The HTML5 module works. One thing about the HTML5 module is because well, over here, first of all, this is to add more devices, and for the HTML5 module, you want to target more than one browser. So you can click here, detect browsers, and it will give you browsers that are installed on the computer. And I have Internet Explorer, Chrome, and Firefox, and more Internet Explorer. It didn't add Opera, so let's see if we can add Opera. Let's see, the last one. Display name will be Opera. There we go. And path to browser will be on this PC. Let's see, there we go. And there it is. So basically I have Chrome, Firefox, Opera, Internet Explorer, and of course Edge. And now when you go and click here, you have all those options. Let's go ahead and, well, let's see if Opera, pointing to Opera will work. Obfuscating. There we go. It launched Opera, And there we go, and it works and looks pretty nice. Anyway, so that's one module down, 2.5 more to go. So next I'm gonna install the JDK. This part is for the Android, which I mentioned before. I haven't really tried it, so I don't know which JDK to install, the 64 or the 32. Go over here and the knowledge base for SDK is required. It mentions that for the Android it needs the 64-bit. Well, so let's do both just to cover ourselves. So I'm gonna start with the 32-bit. Yes. Next. Updating everything. Then actually I'm installing the JDK first, because what I plan to do is actually Visual Studio installs the Android components, and I think it needs the JDK so you can install it properly. The instructions on the GameMaker website say that we need to install the Android Studio, but I have never been able to make it work, so let's see if I have better luck with Visual Studio. So let's keep on installing the two development kits. So next, 3 billion devices run Java. I guess some of them are Androids. There, close, and that should be it. So next I'm gonna run Visual Studio, and Visual Studio is needed for the compiler to work on the desktop, for the UWP module, and I'm gonna see if it also can work for the Android part of the mobile module. So it's initializing, setup, finalizing. So select custom. Let's minimize all this just so we can see GameMaker Studio in the back. Deselect everything. For both the Windows compiler and the UWP, you're gonna need Visual Studio C++. Where is it? Microsoft Web Developer Tools and the Universal Windows App Development Tools. And you can just click next and you'll have the compiler and UWP. For Android, I'm gonna click the cross-compiler, the cross-platform mobile development, and that like double the gigabytes I need to download, and I'll click next. This is gonna take a long while, so I'm gonna first say yes and pause the recording for now until it's done. And now, after a good night's rest, it finished installing, and so just needs to restart. So let's see where that leads. Restart anyway. And there, I'm back. So let's start Visual Studio. also let's start GameMaker. Huh. Okay, let's sign in. Getting things ready, and well, let's open the project while we wait. And honestly, right now the compiler should work right now, so let's see. Well, it didn't give me any errors, and basically it worked. One thing that I made on this stress program is that the font color changes if it's interpreted, if it's on the runner or on the compiler. And on the compiler, it starts out with a white font. So that means that it is compiled. Just to compare, it starts with an orange font when it's on the runner. Anyway, so those two work. So now let's move to UWP. Let's go to GameMaker, and basically I'll be following basically similar instructions to the ones laid down here. And we already did Visual Studio. We clicked, there's 3 components, and so now we have to go here, which is the developer settings. After install Visual Studio, it will select sideload apps, but we need developer mode. Say yes. Then you turn on enable device portal. Huh. Not letting me. There we go. And actually, one thing, I'm gonna turn off authentication. Even though it's highly recommended for authentication to be on, just for the sake of this, I'll just turn it off. And just basically just create a user and a password, but I'm just not gonna deal with that right now. So basically, back on UWP module, you click here on this pencil, the device editor, and we add a new device. Gonna call it, oops, there we go. For the host name, one isolated, you're supposed to, the instructions tell you to put the local IP address, but localhost also works. However, it has to be suffixed. I guess the port number. Let's see. Where is it? There we go. And must be suffixed by 5044-3. So 5044-3, and it should be okay. Now, just to double check over here on preferences, down to platform settings, Windows is still okay, and on UWP it says found in green over here, so everything is good. Should just be able to run this and it will show the UWP version of the app. And there it is. Okay, next will be for the Windows Phone. For the Windows Phone, I'm gonna be using this project my screen app, and yes, project, and there we go. Let me just there we go. That should be better. On the Windows Phone, basically the same thing. Go to settings, down to update and security for developers, and I've already had set it up on developer mode. Turned on the device discovery, device portal and everything, but let's also turn off authentication. For the Windows Phone, instead of making a username and password, you click here on pair, and it will give you a PIN, and that's used for authentication. However, we're not gonna deal with that again, so let's add a new device. It's the dev phone. And for host name, we have to put the IP address. There's no fancy shortcut like localhost. So it's 192. Okay, and just like previously, it has to be suffixed by, I guess, the port number. So let's go to the mobile instructions, and it's 443. So let's type that. And it should be working now. So let's try it. Let's set the target to our developer phone. And so far it seems to be building. And there we go. And basically the Windows Phone builds to Windows Phone. So now let's try for the Xbox. Okay, to begin with, just go to the store and search for Xbox Dev, and yeah, it is one Dev Mode Companion Preview. It allows you to stream the Xbox, and so that's pretty useful. So it's searching for the Xbox, and let's connect to it. And there we go, it's streaming the Xbox. To set up the Xbox, go to all settings, system, console info, and over here you press left bumper, right bumper, left trigger, right trigger, and the developer settings show up. And just click on developer mode and continue, and that's the setup for this. I'm just gonna wait for the Xbox to finish turning back on. Okay, the Xbox is back on, so let's connect to it. And basically this is the developer UI. The important part here is this part: connect with your browser. Make sure this enable Xbox device portal is on, and again you can, this is the option for authentication, but again I'm not gonna be using it, but again it's highly recommended to be done. I'm just doing it to not lengthen this video. So again, add new device, and one thing, as you can see over here, similar to localhost, you can use the device name. Mine is ZBox, so I'll be doing that. Let's name it a ZBox, and the suffix for this one is 11443. 11443. And basically, if with authentication on, you will write the username and password over here. On the Windows Phone, you will write the PIN over here, not the username and password. So let's see if this works. Let's set up for ZBox. Just for fun, let's put the compiler, and it should be building. Let's see. Let's exit here. Actually, wait. I need to sign in. Yeah. What's up? Either way, it plays the game right over here. So let's just run it. There we go. One thing right now is that it displays the cursor, which is being controlled by the left thumbstick, and hopefully they fix that in future updates. But it's really no big deal. It still reads the gamepad, but well, it's building on the Xbox, it's building on the Windows Phone, and it's building on Windows Store apps alongside also the compiler and the runner for the standard desktop build, and HTML5. So last part will be the Android, which that one is experimental. I've tested a little bit on another computer, and let's see if I got it down. Basically, go to Visual Studio, go to Options, Xamarin, and Android Settings. There we go. And over here it gives you the information that we're gonna need. Let's go to Preferences, Platform Settings, and Android. And as you can see, this is the same three things. So for the SDK, wait, there we go. For the Android SDK, let's get that. Let's copy this and paste it over here. And there, it found it. For the Android NDK, let's copy this and paste it, NDK, and it found it. And for the Java developer kit, same thing, and paste it. Okay, actually one thing, for on the Android, on the required SDKs, it asks for the 64-bit version of the NDK and the JDK, which the ones that I put are not. So for the Android NDK, let's click here, but it already opens it to where we're pointing, and where we need to go is the next one down, the Android NDK 64. Huh. Okay, I see. Where does it need to go? We have to choose one of these. NDK R11C. Okay, that's what was missing. Okay, and for the JDK, as you can see, it goes to program files x86, and we need to go to just plain old program files, and Java and JDK, and there, everything is good so far. So back on Visual Studio, let's not change anything. Go to Tools, Android, and Android SDK Manager, and basically gives you this UI. Let's go back to the instructions, setting up for Android, and they really should put images. Let's see. It says, where does it? Okay, the SDK manager looks like this. Yes, it does. The tools folder as is, it should have the Android SDK tools, build tools, and platforms tools selected. SDK tools, platform tools, and build tools. And actually, let's see. We need this one selected, so it will update. Next, on the extras folder, we need to have all this selected. So that's a lot of stuff. Okay, the extras. We need the Android support repository, Play services repository, APK expansion library, licensing library, billing library, USB driver, and web driver. So let's see, let's just install what we have. Let's accept, and let's install. And this is gonna take a while, so see you back when this is done. And there we go. No, actually, one more thing. Let's see. Is that the phone that I have is running Android 6. I'm not too sure how things work. Like I said, I'm never really used the mobile module to build for Android. So, well, let's see if it works. Well, overall, I have a very large amount of inexperience with Android, so I don't have a way to project it to the screen. So first we go to the pencil menu and click detect device. On the screen it shows me always allow from this computer, allow USB debugging. So let's say yes. It says connection and it was successful. So that means it's seeing the device and everything. So let's press OK. On options, down to Android. What I found that it works is 23. So instead of over here saying 25.2, let's put 23.0.3, I think. Basically it corresponds to I don't have it, so let's just place 23.1. Over here let's put 23.0.0, 23 and 23. That's what I found that it works, and let's see if it does. Oh, it needs this key store. Okay, let's apply this, and just for now let's just generate a key store and save it. Oh, okay. Documents, there we go. And there, everything is done. There's a hash values over here, so that means there's a key store, and this changed to a file name. So let's OK all that, and everything should be working. It's going to take a long while to build for Android. Let's allow this, and it's running. Unfortunately, yeah, there's no real good way for me to show that it's running. But it is. Let's see. Okay. There, and a small way that you can see it is when I rotate the phone, this changes. See, that's more. And yeah, that's all I can show you, that it's in fact running on the Android. And I guess that will be it. Let me just turn those portrait off and off, and basically we can now run on Windows, both the runner and the compiler. UWP for desktop, mobile, and Xbox. Again, runner and compiler. HTML5 on all the different browsers, Edge, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Firefox, and Opera. And we can also run on Android, runner and compiler. I don't have a Linux box nor any iOS or Apple device, so but basically yeah, and like all you need is the JDK and Visual Studio, and you can run on all that. And hopefully that helps people get those modules up and running, so that you can start developing them then. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for listening.